Extensions. Just my last video, we covered certain income tax extensions that had been released for FY 19-20, where you get some additional time to file your income tax return for FY 19-20. Well, Income Tax Department has recently issued another circular number 9 of 2021, and this circular basically extended due dates of at least 14 compliances. What are those? We are going to be discussing in today's episode of the Sonia Davar Show. So without further ado, let's get started. Hello and welcome. I'm Sonia Davar, Chartered Accountant and Business Finance Coach, and on today's episode of Sonia Davar Show, we will be discussing all the extensions that has been released by Income Tax Department via their circular number 9 of 2021. What are those and for whom those deductions or the extensions are applicable? We are going to be discussing all of that in today's episode. So if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing if you like all the latest updates and how we are breaking down the complex income tax information to you so that you can get your compliances easier. And if you got any value from this video, don't forget to hit the like button, and while you're there, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you will get all the notifications for any future tax updates that we will be releasing in this channel. And we will be also breaking down how income tax website is coming up with a new portal and how you will be required to file your income tax returns for FY 2021 in the most simplest and the easiest manner. So let's get started with what has been extended in circular number 9 of 2021. So the first extension that has been given is basically for statement of financial transactions and statement of financial reporting. So I'm combining the first two extensions together. Both of these forms are basically transactions that companies and banks and NBFCs and depositories and brokers, they are required to give information, and using this information, Income Tax Department is going to give us the pre-filled income tax return forms. And these forms, statement of financial transaction, the compliances has to be done in form number 61A, was required to be furnished by 31st of May. But considering all the high cases in COVID and the bad scenario, there has been given an extension, and the new date for filing form number 61A and even doing statement of financial reporting transactions has been now extended to 30th of June. So these were the first two extensions. The third and the biggest extension that most taxpayers were waiting for compliances in the month of May was towards TDS return filing for last quarter of FY 2021. So all the TDS that has been deducted on salaries and on other expenses that the company pay on a monthly basis, the quarter 4 return was due to be filed till 31st of May. But considering all the high COVID cases, there has been given an extension and the new date by which the companies and all the people who deduct TDS, they have to now report their TDS returns, file their TDS returns for salary and for other expenses in various forms till 30th of June. So there has been given a month's extension for this part, and the companies can now file all the TDS returns till 30th of June. How does it impact you? We are going to be discussing in the next extension, and that is extension number 4, that the companies who have deducted TDS for their employees can now give Form 16 to their employees by 15th of July. After the due date of filing of TDS return, companies get 15 days time to generate Form 16 and 16A and give it to the employees or the contractors from whom they have deducted TDS. That deadline has also been subsequently increase by another 15 days because due date of filing of TDS return has been extended by another month. So now you will expect it to get all your Form 16 by 15th of July, and hence the Income Tax Department had to extend the due date for filing of income tax return for individuals, for HUFs, for partnership firms and their partners who do not have to be audited can now file their returns till 30th of September. So as you see, all these things are linked, and all the previous extensions that has been given, SFT, as Statement of Financial Transactions, Statement of Financial Accounts, TDS returns, they all result in getting the data in a pre-filled format that the Income Tax Department is going to provide from this year, and hence there will be delays in getting those pre-filled data, and you can now file your return for if you are an individual or HUF or a partnership firm on whom there is no audit applicable, even if there is an LLP and its partners on whom there are no audit applicable. If you have a turnover of below 40 lakh rupees, then no LLP audit also will be applicable to you, and you can now have the extended time limit to file your returns till 30th of September. Now let's discuss about the due date for filing of income tax return. The due date of filing of return for audit cases, like if you are an individual or a partnership firm and its partner, HUF on which tax audit is applicable, LLP on which statutory audit is applicable, or a company on which statutorily anyway audits are applicable, you need to file your income tax return. The earlier due date for you to file income tax return was 31st of October. This due date has now been extended by 1 month, and the new date is 30th of November for filing income tax returns. Now, if tax audit is applicable in your case, you had to file your tax audit reports by 30th of September. Now there has been an extension of 1 month, and all the tax audit reports are now due to be filed by 31st of October. And the income tax returns for these audit cases, even if you have a statutory audit or tax audit, any of these audits, the due date for filing income tax return, which were earlier due to be filed on 31st of October, can now be filed up to 30th of September. The next extension has been given for the cases where transfer pricing audit is applicable. Transfer pricing audit is when you have any related party transaction or transaction between group companies, whether nationally, that is domestic transaction, beyond a certain threshold. That threshold is beyond 5 crore rupees in the entire financial year, or if you have any related party transaction with international group companies or international related parties, then transfer pricing audit is also applicable in your case, and you will need to file audit. The earlier due date for filing these TP audit reports were 31st of October, has now been extended by 1 month, and now you have to file your audit reports for TP audits by 30th of November. And for these companies where TDS audit is also applicable, the due date for filing income tax return has now been extended by another 1 month. They were earlier due to be filed till 30th of November, can now be filed till 31st of December. So let's take a scenario where you're a company and tax audit also is applicable to you, and transfer pricing audit is also applicable to you, and then let's see what would be the income tax return filing due date for such cases. So where tax audit is applicable, earlier the due date was 30th September, now that has been extended till 31st of October. You have to file your tax audit reports by 31st of October. you have to file your TP audit report. Earlier the due date was 31st October. Now the due date has been changed to 30th of November, and you will have another 1 month time to prepare for your income tax return and file your income tax return by 31st of December. The last extension is with respect to due date for filing belated returns or filing delayed returns. So belated return, or if you want to revise the return that you had already filed, the due dates had been reduced or the due date had been revised to 31st of December in Finance Act 2021 has now been extended to be filed by 31st of January 2022. So if you have filed your returns within the due dates and you made certain mistake and you want to rectify those mistakes or revise those mistakes by filing a revised return, or you could not file your return before the due date and you want to file it afterwards, then you have time. In any of these previous scenarios, whether you have tax audit applicable or whether you have TP audit applicable, or you are an individual who's now required to file their income tax return by 30th of September, you have extended time that you can file your belated return by paying penalties and late fees, but you have the option to file your income tax return till 31st of January. The due date had been reduced in the Finance Act 2021 to 31st of December. All earlier years, this due date used to be 31st of March of every year, but now due to technological advances that the income tax department is going through, and they are promising that all the returns will be processed faster and they will be providing you a lot of information in the pre-filled format in your income tax return, so that you don't have to take all the hassles of filing and preparing for your income tax return. Considering this, they have reduced the time limit that had been given for revising and filing belated returns, and that time limit also had now 1 month extension, and you can file those revised returns or belated returns till 31st of January. So I hope you would remember the new due dates. I will give a snapshot here of all the due dates combined with what was previous due date and what are the new due dates for FY 2021. And if you want more help in preparing your income tax returns correctly and properly, there is this guide which describes all the tax deductions that you can avail before you file your income tax return for FY 2021. So if you want to download this guide, and it gives you all the tax deductions from income from salary, income from house property, income from deductions, then download the guide given on the screen here, and you can get all the information. Don't forget to get all the deductions before you file your returns properly, so that your tax is minimized and you get most of the refund of the TDS that had been deducted in your case. In case you want us to make any future videos on any topic that you are interested in, do let us know by putting a comment below, and we would consider your requests. So I hope you liked the information that had been given in this video. I had prepared another video here for further extensions that had been given for FY 19-20. So if you want, there is a link in the description and you can go ahead and check out those videos as well. So if you got any value in this video, do hit the like button, consider subscribing to our channel, and hit the bell icon so that you get all the updates and future notifications of the new content that we will upload on this channel. So till then, Sonia Ravar signing off. Bye.